Should I use my earbuds? Nah. If you can hear me, you can hear me. All right, let's see. Am I on? Am I? All right, more ads. Let's see. Skip that. Oh man. AI taking over, huh? Okay, now let's see. All right. Come on. Here we go. Okay, hello, it's the Nazarite bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Good to be here. Greetings from Chicago. Hey, YABS is here. MSGTBIBJ is here. From Chi-Town or Chinatown, which one is it? Either way, hello, hello, hello. This one goes out to my mother, who said, "Are you gonna run out of funny hats?" I was playing with the baby earlier with these things, and I said, "Hey, I'll make my own funny hat and I'll broadcast with it." So I am. Okay. So yeah, occasionally I'll wear a funny hat and occasionally I'll wear a costume. So tonight is the new moon. Well, tomorrow is the new moon. There are times in the Hebrew calendar when only the first of the month, the new moon, is considered the new moon, and it's times when there are 2 days. The end of the previous month, that's tonight, begins the last night of Shvat. Tomorrow night, the new moon of Adar. Now, I did actually want to bring up wild, wild hundreds. Hundreds? Which hundreds? It's a sports team that I don't know of? Because I don't know of most of them. Yeah, sure, Saluna, ask something. Go ahead. But then I need to do a shout out to the people who gave to the chats last night. By all means, Saluna. Hi. MS says, "I like you, dude. I'm glad you're doing this. Lets people know there are good people out there where there may otherwise be looking to confirm their biases." You know what? There was a person who left. We were back and forth for the last hour, like 6 comments altogether, him 3, me 3, going back and forth throughout the last hour. And he deleted his comment. I'll give you the gist. He started it by writing -6 million. And I wrote something and he replied. And then I came to see if he replied to me after, we had a few words. And I was, being my usual courteous but maybe curt self, and he deleted his comments. Okay. Yes, I can make a Lego hat. That's right. That's right. That's right. Now, the cutest thing is that I made one for the baby as well. I didn't have, he was playing with it, so I didn't have time to snap a selfie, but I had one and he had one, and that was pretty cute. It's a fun way to say the South Side. Hundreds, what? Hundreds. Not sure. Okay, but wait. Did you ask the question? Because, Saluna, that was a question. But okay, hang on a second. I want to give a shout out to the people who gave yesterday. AK2900, Max Power 2025, Brackish Bass, Rayadel 1945, Night Pack, Tyler Kennedy, Mr. Big Boss. Is that it? Yep. Those were the people who gave yesterday. It all goes to charity. I haven't gotten paid yet, okay? But I think towards the end of February I will. Do you know why? Because we are nearing 2,000 shekel in only a few weeks. 2,000 shekel that you good people have raised for charity. It's unbelievable. Once again, when the money comes in, I will be as transparent as I can, and I will consult with you, that is, on where to give and when and why and how. But as those of you who follow the channel know. But for now, let's get back into this chat. Let's get back into the chat. Okay, can you read some passages from the Talmud, says number 1. Well, what do you mean? First, the Talmud has lines, but not necessarily passages. Do you play gay box, says NKL Scare. What is gay box? I don't know what gay box is, but it's, I'm intrigued. I'm curious. I'm gay box curious, if you will. Hey, Garfield is here. Good evening. Very trendy headgear, looking like a true gangster. You know it. Yes, I asked something. So, Luna, maybe you asked something, but it was... I didn't see what you asked. Oh, here it is. What do you think of the Epstein situation? Well, I don't know the Epstein situation. I haven't read any of the files. I just know that supposedly a lot of it has come to light. The government released it, the FBI, whoever it was. And many names are named, and many things are still redacted or censored, if I'm not mistaken. But what do I think of the situation? I think people with money, influence, and power will, as all of us, have the proclivity for, to be corrupted. We all have the inclination for evil and the inclination for good. The thing is that a lot of us don't really have the capacity to truly unleash our wickedness, I mean, on such a scale. But people who are rich and powerful and influential definitely do. So I'm thinking that's the situation. That's what I would say. There's nothing really to say. Let's continue. So yeah, what about the Talmud? What is it you want to know? My 5-year-old loves you and wants to see you dance. Done. How much dollar is 1 shekel? Hey, vegan for the chicks. I'm vegan too. Hooray. $1 is about three and a bit shekel, something like that. Yeah. So very ordinary. Hi, you are a relief from my life in Washington, D.C., America, under the Trump regime. Yeah, we all need relief, right? We all need some escapism. Now, this channel is not necessarily an escapist channel, but I, in moderation, love a good amount of escapism. I really, really do. What's your new headband? It's I just made this. I was playing with the baby and I made this. So yeah. Do not read the files. It is terrible for your mental health. That's what I'm saying. I know that terrible things are going on all the time. I know people treat each other like pure garbage. I don't need to read about how people exactly are doing it. Hang on a second. I got to get out the tea bag. Today I remembered to add lemon to my green tea, and I have a mug, a steaming mug full of green tea. It's a little too hot right now, but I took out the tea bag. All right, let's continue. No, I'm not going to read the files, for sure. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Crazy Cat Lady, toda she'hemshachta ba'avodah hatova chaveri. Thank you for continuing the good work, my friend. Thank you, Crazy Cat Lady. It's me again. That's right, it's me again. Zeshuvata, she says. How do you keep calm? I'm flipping like a gorilla from anti-Semitism. Well, what do you mean? Because this is the internet. Of course there will be anti-Semitism. Of course there will be Jew hatred. People hide behind the anonymity of YouTube and their profile picture and their keyboards, and they spew whatever vile hatred comes, into their minds. They say things that they would never, ever say to someone to their face. I mean, me maybe. I'm not a big guy, but, How do I keep calm? That's it. That's all it is. Number 1, anything about the creation story or the times before the flood in the Talmud? Well, I mean, a couple of things. First of all, that there is not necessarily the Talmud, but there's the idea of the Torah, for instance, existing before creation, and that although that's more the Zohar, right? Istakel be'oraita ubara alma. God looked at the Torah and created the world and created the universe. It's that idea of the physical Torah that we have being physical, but the spiritual root precedes creation itself. Hello from North Carolina, says EJJAW98. Hello to you in North Carolina. So Luna, can I be your favorite guy? Well, I mean, lots of you people are my favorite guys and gals. That's part of why I do this, and I truly love doing this. That's something, for instance, that comes to mind about the creation story or the times before the flood. There's a lot there, but I can't think of specific things, and I wouldn't want to misrepresent or misquote. What does anti-Sem mean for you? Says Shy Weed Demon. Christians are most likely acting a little bit weird when I'm saying this. What do you mean? What does it mean? I'm not sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he said anti-Semitism. Atheism? What does it mean for me? But that's it. It means that you believe, it's not exactly nihilism where you believe in nothing. It's simply like atheism, not non-belief in deities or deity. That's all that it is. That's literally all that it is. You seem like a cool dude, says James Shall, and so do you, 7771. It's nice to be here with you. Christians are... Now, what do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean a little bit weird. I truly don't know what you mean. But okay. Sam Chrono says, are you a Jew? Yes, indeed I am. I'm a Jew of the kingdom of Judah. Hello from Drew Petits or Petitus. The Drew Petitus show. Hello, Drew. Hi. David says, I'm a bit nervous about this Epstein crap because I'm not Jewish, I'm Polish and kind of look Jewish. Well, win some and lose some, you know what I'm saying? Some kid from Britain. Shalom. Hello, kid from Britain. Are you indeed a kid from Britain? Insomniac says, is it alien life forms you worship as a deity? Since the deity created the world, can't possibly be from the world he created. No, see, I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself in the world. Part of that revelation is indeed creation. So, I don't know if it's an alien life form. Alien in the sense of if I can name it alien, and if I can name it life form, it is automatically by definition not God, right? If I can name it, label it, perceive it, conceive of it, right? If I can sense it with any one of my senses, it's immediately not the divine, but divine revelation, divine emanation, divine influence. I like the hat, says Tiny Meat Pete. Unique stuff. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I enjoyed it. You're a lot weird, but it's okay. You're darn right it's okay. Hell, it's a prerequisite sometimes. Why be normal? Why? Society puts so many conventions, regulations, and laws in place. Why be 100% normal? Why be just a straight square all the time? You gotta let loose a little bit. You really, really do. Okay. Are a lot of people, hey, Frank Zappa, Skylar, I love me some Zappa. Hello from Iran. Hey, Miguel, hello. You won't answer comments, says Mike Hawk. What do you think I'm doing now, Mike? Obviously, I'm answering comments. Do you worship Ehud Barak? No, I didn't vote for the guy. I mean, look, he is one of the most decorated soldiers the IDF has ever had. I believe his time in the army was well spent. He was part of an elite unit, and I'm not poo-pooing that, not in the least. However, I am saying that he's out of office now for a long, long time, and the peace agreement that he went with, I mean, what was it, to Yasser Arafat? I think it was him and Yasser Arafat, which was rejected, was one of the most generous peace offers. Something, a true instance when peace could have at least started something. And Arafat rejected it immediately, because he knows they are right, says Mike. Hey, Mike Hawk, you seem to think that I'm ignoring questions. I'm not ignoring questions. There are over 100 people here. Chat is coming in very rapidly. I can't get to every single thing. However, do leave a comment. I answer every single comment that is addressed to me, so please do. How do you stay so joyful? Well, you know what? I live a life of great abundance on every conceivable level. And there is a lot that I still need to repair and remedy about myself, no question. But there's so much good going on all the time in the world, and I choose to focus on the light. I choose to focus on the good. I choose to focus on ways in which I can better myself, and ways, and humor. Humor is the best thing in the world. You gotta laugh, because if you don't laugh, you cry. Why? So you think it's okay for Jewish people to say they have divine power all over non-Jewish things on earth if they are you slaves? Mike, I don't quite understand the question, but it seems to do with Jewish supremacy. So right off the bat, I'm not a Jewish supremacist. I don't think that I have divine power. Certainly not divine power all over other non-Jews. Certainly not all over things on earth. And I don't consider anyone my slave. I don't know where you're getting this stuff from, but it's not me. So by all means, take it to another Jew who might have a Jewish supremacy or victim mentality, and it has caused him to, lose his shit, to think that he has divine power over all creation. I'm not the guy. So my apologies, I'm not the guy. He is an operative of Ehud Barak, says Damien. You think so, huh? You think so? I should be paid a lot more if I'm an Ehud Barak, if I'm an Ehud Barak representative or operative. What do you think about Daniel 2? What do you mean, what do I think? I think it's a prophecy, and Daniel was one of the only prophets to prophesy on foreign soil. Usually, it's not the way it went. Jervis, are you a Rastafarian? No, I do not worship Rastafari. I think he was a leader to his people, said some very wise things, but I don't worship him, not as a leader, not as an emperor, not as a god incarnate. So, no. Is this God Jewish, says Bonk King? What do you think? Look at the schnoz, man. Look at the schnoz. All right. It's in the Talmud, it says in your religion you do. First of all, Mike, no it doesn't. My apologies. It says that we have been selected for a certain task. That much is true. The Torah says that we could be higher, but it certainly doesn't make others our slaves. It just behooves us and puts the responsibility and the onus on us to behave and be the best people of the covenant that we can. Certainly it doesn't make none of us better than anyone else. And what Moses actually tells the people of Israel is that you do your own thing, and by virtue of just you doing your own Hebrew thing, other things will, like a stone thrown into a pond, they will ripple out. And the people around you will look at you and say, hey, you know what? Those people, they got their shit together. They seem to be wise. But at no point am I falling for any of this Jewish supremacy stuff. It reeks of vanity and arrogance and pride, and I say this every time. So I choose to focus on other verses in the Torah. I choose to focus on other facets of the faith and not things. Also, the Talmud is a series of discussions. It's not rabbinic law. People might take teachings or lore from there and run with it. Cool, but once again, I'm not that guy. What is your opinion on the ger tzaddik living in olam haba, asks Jimmy. Well, a ger tzaddik or a ger tzedek is somebody who converts. So what do you mean by living? Do you mean currently living in the coming world? Do you mean olam haba after you die? Because that's not it. Or do you mean olam haba when we reach the Edenic Sabbath and the seventh millennium, as it were, to creation? How is it that I'm not sure how you see the question, Jimmy, or the terms within your question, so I can't really answer it. But gerei tzedek, for all intents and purposes, are people of the Hebrew tribes. That's pretty much it. They're as Jewish as I am. You won't answer about the tunnels, Nicholas says. See, once again, I didn't see any question, Nicholas, and I didn't see your username until I looked at the monitor right now. So, I don't know anything about the tunnels. All I heard was that at the time, people from Chabad were digging tunnels in New York. That's all I know. I don't follow the news. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what went on then, how, or why. Hey, JP is in the house. Hey, JP, how you doing? JP is a regular contributor in questions and with money to charity, so that's awesome. If you had to pick, would you pick Psalms or Proverbs? And what is your favorite verse? If you had to say and you can explain it. Well, my favorite verse is the first verse of the Torah, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, because all of creation is in that first verse. All of the divine revelation in all its glory is in the first verse. And, in the entire Torah, sure, but in the first verse in particular. And the New York Nazarite Aleph Aleph would say that the entirety of creation and the entirety of the Torah is all in the bet of Bereshit, right? Psalms or Proverbs? I think the Levite in me wants to say Psalms, obviously Psalms. My ancestors traditionally sang them on the steps of the temple and the tabernacle. But, the temple, if not the tabernacle, because the tabernacle had no steps. But I think Proverbs, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. I think I will go, yikes. I think I'll go with Proverbs. That would be my favorite between the two, though I read more Psalms than Proverbs, but Proverbs has a few nuggets that are unbelievable. So yes, as for a favorite verse, so can I explain it? Right? First of all, it's not, people translate it as in the beginning, Bereshit, in the beginning, but it's not. It's not in the beginning, it's in the beginning of. So it's not in the beginning God created heaven and earth. It's in the beginning of creation of heaven and earth. It's a precursor to the rest of the Torah. In other words, you have the first creation story and the second creation story and the beginning of Genesis. One of them is, so to speak, something of a blueprint where the Shabbos actually takes place. And one of them is what actually happened in reality, so to speak, right, according to Torah, where that first Sabbath never took place. And we are in that world between worlds, awaiting the coming of the seventh millennium and that Shabbos that never took place, partaking of the fruit of the tree of life and all that jazz. So, can I explain it? It has basically all of the 10 sfirot, all of the tree of life in that verse, and it has the story of creation there, the duality with the word Elohim, that's the duality of divine revelation, Hashamayim ve'aretz, heaven and earth, which is more like sky and earth. Sky is Shamayim, that's Esh and Mayim, water and fire. There are dualities all over the place there, and that's part of why I love that verse so much. It's part of why I love that first Torah portion so much. So that's what I would go with. That is my favorite. It might be stupid and mundane, but that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, people, what is your favorite verse or chapter or book? What would you go with, Proverbs or Psalms? Don't listen to the lies this clown is spreading, says Nunya. Yes, I'm definitely a clown. Spreading lies, I try not to. It's one of the only things that is written in the Torah that we should stay away from, not with a commandment, from false speech should you distance yourself, right? In other words, distance yourself from false speech. It doesn't say that about too many things at all, and it says it about false speech. Hey, Tony. Hello, Tony Myers. How you doing? Let's continue in the chat. I don't know, you're wearing Legos on your head, says Debbie Buck 8916. You're darn tootin' right I am. All right, I'm going to take a swig of this, hopefully. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nihye bidvaro. Oh yes, green tea with lemon, that's the stuff. Hi M.I. says, I grew up in a non-religious Ashkenazi family. I always believed in God, and now at 40 I'm doing mitzvahs. Good for you. I believe it's true, but I feel out of place around Orthodox people. Well, hopefully not because they're judging you, because, some Orthodox people, some people at large, by and large, can be judgmental. Hopefully they're not too judgmental. But good for you for, look, 40 is a major age for a Yid. 40 is major. Look it up, right, what the age of 40 represents, and the coming into the 5th decade that starts at 40, what that represents. It is wild, wild stuff. There's a lot of potential in this 5th decade. I'm in that 5th decade myself, being 43. Mike Hawk says, your supremacy is exuding. Oh yeah? If I thought I was so supreme, would I do this? I think I cleared a couple of things up here right now. Okay, let's continue. Are you okay, my man? Says Address Your Bob. You look wild, and not Temu package wild, more like what happened wild. Well, I'll tell you, a lot of things happened. I could give you the gist. I was born, I almost died, because I was born prematurely, and my lung collapsed when I was 2 days old, or 1 day old, but I made it. And now, 43 years later, and some change, here I am. That's it. Ali says, what would you say that omission in speech would classify as false speech? You know what? That's an interesting question. I know that there is such a thing as being, omitting and that having be, I don't know if it would be a lie, but it would be dishonest or disingenuous. Is it an actual lie if you don't speak it? I don't think so. I don't know if it's false speech. I suppose it has to do with the speech that precedes the omission and the speech that follows the omission. That would tell you if it's false speech or not. Do you understand? I hope you understand. All right, let's see. Ecclesiastes is your favorite book. Oh, who said that? Darn it. The chat just jumped. All right, let's continue. Is your hair clean, says Gene Crap. Love the name, Gene. Yes, my hair is clean, It's like I have bits and pieces of fabric and lint, likely, because, that were stuck there and I don't know what. But no, I clean my hair regularly, I shampoo regularly, I condition regularly. So, yes. Womp womp, says Quentin. Indeed, womp womp. Emanon says shalom. Let's continue. Let us continue. Thanks for clarifying, Mike George? Thank you, Mike. All right. Okay, let's continue. Jay says, you allow those you love to suffer and die of primitive, indictable sickness. Indictable? What is indictable? I'm always learning new words. Hang on a second, I need to look this word up. What is indictable? Of an offense, rendering the person who commits it liable to be charged with a serious crime that warrants a trial by... Oh, indictable. Indictable. Sorry, man. Missed that. Indictable sickness and disease without once studying the truths of math, science, and physics to attempt to spare them from this fate. I'm sorry, were you talking to me? Let's read that again. You allow those you love to suffer and die of primitive, indictable sickness and disease without once studying the truths of math, science, and physics to attempt to spare them from this fate. Okay, now I got it. So, look, those that I love, I don't let them suffer and die of primitive sickness and disease. I haven't ever. As for studying the truths of math, science, and physics, I'm not a math person. I love science as a concept. I loved astrophysics when I was in 8th grade and astronomy. Physics itself, because of the math, I never really got, I didn't really get into it. I appreciate those who do speak that language. My mother is a doctor of biochemistry and a biochemical researcher, so I know a little thing about, science and the devotion of scientists. As for attempting to spare them from this fate, I do anything in my power, whether it's taking them to a physician, giving them medicine, whatever the case may be, to spare those that I love from suffering any kind of sickness, really, if I can help it. So, yeah, there you go. Universal asks, would it be fair to ask if you're religious or spiritual? Well, I grew up religious. There's still a lot of Orthodox Judaism in me, of course, but because I don't keep strict halacha anymore, right, rabbinic law, strict rabbinic law, and because I don't have a rabbi, at least a living one that I go to with questions and such. I have dead masters, but not living ones. Then I'd suppose I'm more spiritual, right? I'm more spiritual in that sense, for sure. You a Christian, says the Spaceman 3. Hey, I was called Spaceman when I was in my teens, and sometimes still, because I'm a space cadet. So yeah, no, I'm not a Christian. Definitely not a Christian. Your thoughts on Rabbi Joel Teitelbaum of Satmar, asks Jimmy. Oh, wow. Well, look, the Satmar Hasidism, Hasidic sect, I don't know enough about it. And I certainly don't know enough about Hadmo Misatmar, right? The Rebbe of Satmar. So I have no thoughts about him. I truly have no thoughts. Something Stinks here, says Purple Honeys. I love the name. Something Stinks. It's not me. It's not my tea. It's not the Lego. I don't know what it is. I haven't farted recently. Excellent take on the tinfoil hat, says John Q. Public. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay. Verflex. It sounds Yiddish. Verflex. This is a genuine question. What are your beliefs? What is the difference between Zionists and Orthodox Jewish people? Many Orthodox Jewish folk are Zionist. There are what's called ultra-Orthodox, there's no such thing, but Haredi Orthodox who are anti-Zionist. Many Haredi Orthodox Jews are Zionist as well. The difference, as far as you're concerned, from the question, right, since it's a genuine question, I'll give you a genuine answer. That is the genuine answer. I'll go a bit further and say that some Haredi sects don't consider the modern-day Zionism to be the biblical Zionism, and they say, basically, until we get a clear-cut sign, a Messiah, a prophet, a messenger, something so clear that nobody can deny it, only then can we return to the land. They base it on the 3 oaths in the Song of Songs and the Midrash, the external teachings. Of course, I always say in this context, I go with Ezekiel's dry bones. First, you erect the physical body, then you pour in the spiritual substance, right? Then the spirit comes in. So you can look at it in both ways, but that is the difference between Zionists and some Haredi Orthodox people. But many Orthodox Jews are Zionist. I dare say more than anti-Zionist. Did Jews sacrifice children to Molech? Says address Ardriz Arb Bab. Okay, so the Jews, for many, many years, worshipped all kinds of deities, whether there was a temple or there wasn't a temple, whether it was a tabernacle or was not a tabernacle. So Molech was one of the things that we were commanded specifically not to go with. Did it happen? Likely, because we were commanded not to do it. It's likely that it was something that had been done in the past. When we received the Torah at Sinai, that ended. When we got into the land of Israel, right? When we got into the land of Canaan, rather, not yet Israel, the land of Canaan, and the tabernacle made the voyage across the Jordan and all that, then it's done. You may only bring sacrifices to the tabernacle. And still that didn't happen, and there were many altars all over Israel. Jimmy says, my mom is Ashkenazi, originally from the Satmar family, off the derech. So am I. My father is a Ger Tzaddik, that's why I asked my question earlier. Well, you still didn't say which Olam Haba do you mean. But okay. Mike Hawk says, when I was in school, a Jewish kid was constantly picked on until I stood up for him and told people if they want to mess with him, I'll fight them. I didn't know anything about religion. See, that's being a good person, Mike Hawk. Good for you. You get a gold star, and I don't mean that cynically or facetiously, if that's the right term to use. No. That's a good thing you did. Walk tall, lift your head high. That's a good thing. I don't remember who said it. One of the sages of the recent era said, if you even did a favor to someone, right, and did a kind deed to someone, even only once in your life, that is worth dancing for 70 years, right? This is the only place when we are in this mortal physical body. This is the only place where we can perform good deeds, perform commandments, live, laugh, love, eat, fart. You know, it's like here is where we can make things happen. Here is where we can actually carry out wonders, right? Not the angels and not the demons and not the dead and not those who have not been born. Us. Stupid, stupid us. And so you stood up for someone in need and you told them that you'll fight them. You stood up for the little guy. Not physically, maybe he was little physically, but so really, good for you. As for not knowing anything about religion, even better. It was something that had nothing to do with him being part of the tribe or not, being part of an in-group or not. You saw something happen, you did something about it. That is an amazing thing. I wish I could be more like you. Gabnan Boy says, oh my, OMG, the whole world used to be what's called Abrahamic Hebrews, and the entire world had some form of human sacrifice. Yes, that's true. I can totally take this guy seriously, says Ken Helling. Don't. I mean, only if you're called to, but no, nobody should take anything I'm saying seriously ever. Let's continue. Thinkin' Time says, I'm not sure if you aren't catching on. You're going along with it ironically, but Mike Hawk is a trick to get you to say something that sounds dirty. Could be a setup to report you. Interesting. So look, I only saw what Mike Hawk said here right now, and before that, the things we had together. I'm not catching on. Chances are I would go along with it ironically. So, okay. Mike Hawk, whatever you want me to say, just come out and tag me, and I'll say it, I suppose. Not necessarily, but I've said some controversial things in this chat. Whoever saves a single life, it is as if he saved a world entire, right? An entire world. Crazy Cat Lady 84 says. That is correct. That is correct. Who are you, says Muhammad. I am Jonathan, a simple dumbass in the Middle East. Well, Jonathan, you could probably pronounce that. So yeah, I'm just a simple dumbass with a phone in the Middle East. And who are you, Muhammad 28452? Who are all of us? Who are we really? Who are we truly? This is why we were given that gift of life. We ask the question, we carry it out, we find out who we actually could be if we gave a rat's ass and did something about manifesting the divine image in which each and every one of us is created. We each have our unique divine image. Manifest it. Give your personal gift to the world. Let's continue. Ardri Sarbab says, do you think there are twisted-minded people who still do child sacrifice? Yes, definitely there are. I ask because Epstein was a Jew and he did child sacrifice according to the release of papers. Well, yes. I don't know if he did it or not, but definitely that's still ongoing for sure. Ali says, forgive my ignorance of your beliefs. Hey, I'm ignorant of most things, so it's all good. You're in good hands. In good company, I mean. Do you believe in heaven as a physical place, or do we ascend in layers of reality before we reach full oneness? All right, so the thing is this. I don't know if by heaven you mean a place you go after you die. I don't know if by heaven you mean a place that is... I don't know what you mean by heaven. I'll tell you that in the Hebrew faith we have a lower Eden and a higher Eden, and it's kind of a waiting room. It's a waiting room, right? We are waiting for what's called Olam Haba, or the coming world, or the world to come, however you want to look at it. We are still in the middle of fulfilling our task. We need to partake of the fruit of the tree of life. The fruit of the tree of life was put under guard. The road, the path to the tree of life was put under guard, but never forbidden. And we shall enter that Edenic Sabbath that has not yet taken place, all in due season, all in good time, as one unified human race. So when you speak of full oneness, right, it means where there is no duality. And we have the tree of good and evil, of knowledge of good and evil, and that's a duality, good and evil. And we have the tree of life, which is not a duality. That is a singularity. We will move in from humanity phase 1, world of duality, to humanity phase 2, world of singularity. I'm really just giving you the gist here. So, now, as for Eden being a physical place, a metaphysical place, a spiritual place, the answer is yes. It is all of those things. All of those things. Any opium out there, says Brian? I've never done opium. I've never sought out opium, so I have no idea. Likely there's opium somewhere here. Yeah. GT says, go back on the oven. Clearly you're not done. You don't go on the oven, right? That's the stove. You mean go on the stove or in the oven. So which would I rather go on the stove or in the oven? That's a good question. I'm definitely not done. I'm not even half-baked. I guess I'm a quarter of the way, maybe. If I was a cake, I would still be running. You know what I'm saying? My question, Jimmy says, will Ger Tzedek have the same rights in Israel? A Ger Tzedek is a Jew the moment his or her head pops out of the mikveh. They are a Jew. That's it. After the tevilah, after they immerse in a ritual pool, right? After having done whatever prepared, right? After being prepared and doing whatever they had to do beforehand, once they pop their head out of that mikveh, that's it. They are 100% part of the Hebrew tribes, as if they've been born Jewish, because they are literally born again. So yes, obviously, to me, yes, they are a Jew as any Jew who has ever lived. And better, actually. Better in a way, because they did not have to choose this covenant, but they said, know what? I'm going to go all in on this, even though it's not my covenant yet. I want to be part of this covenant, even though it carries with it a ton of rules and a ton of Jew hatred. Yes, I want to be part of this. So that's an amazing thing. Amazing thing. I'm baked, says Handy Andy. Hey, good for you. I've been baked myself, sometimes. Toe Daddy says, please cut your hair. No, I don't think so. But I appreciate the suggestion. Do Jews worship money? Oh, who said that? The chat just jumped. I'm sorry. It was Nathaniel Garden, 2543. Some Jews definitely worship money. Some people worship money. Money is definitely something that you can fall into as a trap. But Jews, no, we do not worship money. We worship the Most High God. There you go. Gabanan says, I've never seen such a hateful chat. Oh, stick around. You ain't seen nothing yet. Stick around. Okay. Why do you want to kill every man that is not a Jew, says Sila Chud. See, just the fact that you would assume that is completely you projecting. Did I ever say that? People, regulars, followers, did I ever say that I want to kill every man that is not a Jew? Take a look at me. Do you think that I'm a killer? Do you think that I'm a murderer? A killer I could be. A murderer? Really? Really? Take a good look. Here, I'll even take my glasses off. It's like in Star Wars, right? Does he have the face of a killer, right? In Rogue One? I love Rogue One. My God, what a good movie. Okay, convert to Muslim, says Mo. I don't see that happening, but once again, I appreciate the suggestion. Definitely. Let's continue. Do you support the Israeli government, says Lucas? I haven't voted in about 20 years. I support them in the sense that they are the government. I definitely don't support everything they do blindly. I definitely have not voted in like 20 years, so I don't support the idea of politics and of voting, and I think that it's a real sham. I may vote in the next election just to get Netanyahu out of office. I don't know if that answers your question. I definitely don't support the atrocities that Israeli government and Israeli people do, if indeed they do carry them out. I condemn that, and I condemn them. Yeah. How come some Jew women are hot and some are really ugly, says Nathaniel Garden. Well, you can just take the word Jew out of there. How come some women are hot and some women are really ugly? I'll give you the answer. You want to hear the answer? Because beauty and ugly is in the eye of the beholder, right? But you didn't say beauty. You said hot. Let's go with that. Why are some Jew women hot and some really ugly? Genetics. That's pretty much it. But really, without even Jew, some women, look, I've heard it said that when you're in your 20s and you're a woman, you could be hot like just near automatically, right? But who knows? Who knows why? Why? I mean, do you seem to think? What would you say is the ratio to hot, not hot? Let's continue. Decent on outside. What? Is Israel decent on outside? I'm not sure what you mean. I dwank Kenobi. I'm not sure how to read it, but okay. Dale says, talk about Isaiah 53. No, I've done it so many times. Sorry, check out almost any other live stream that I've done. People ask about Isaiah 53. Brian says, is Israel expanding? Yes, I think Israel is expanding, and this is what I have to say about that. Some expansion is actually illegitimate internationally and locally. Some expansion is legitimate, right? So I really do see a difference. Merely expanding is not illegitimate. Expanding illegitimately is illegitimate. But there are also many considerations, strategic security considerations that I don't know enough about. So is Israel expanding? Yes. Is it always good? No. Should it always be done? No. There you go. Have you heard of the Isle of Man, says Anthony. All I know is that I've listened to a Pink Floyd bootleg where they played the Isle of Man. That's all I know about it. Pretty much. Okay, let's continue. He looks like one of my cat's hairballs, says TG. Thank you. I actually do look like a hairball. I'll give you that. Wash your hair, dirty bitch, says LOL. I do. I wash it. I know it seems like I don't, but I definitely do. How often do you shower? Toad Daddy asks. Well, if I get really dirty, I shower that day or, the morning after. I used to shower when I used to hit the gym. I used to shower daily. I shower every, 2-3 days. I hose myself down. The hair I wash because it takes like hours to dry. I can't always wait. So I shampoo, once every couple of weeks. I condition once every 4 to 6 weeks. But again, if it's dirty, if I'm sweating a lot, if I'm doing a lot of physical activity, then yes, I'll rinse my hair, I'll wash my body every day. But I usually don't. Would you hang out with Ben Shapiro? Yeah, I would. I think that he could teach me some stuff, right? He's a Harvard Law graduate. I think he's got some, he definitely has some chutzpah. I would love to talk to him. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but the guy has some cojones, at least according to what I've seen. I mean, I don't know if everything he says is true, but he is one smooth, fast-talking SOB. Shalom, everyone, said Sneezer. Hey, Sneezer, how you doing? What about specifically expansion into the Golan Heights, says user O? Well, look, Syria has attacked Israel on a number of occasions. The Golan Heights, even if it was not actually promised to Israel biblically, even if it was not part of any partition plan which was rejected by the Arabs, even if it wasn't something that was considered Israeli beforehand, it did actually become Israeli when others attacked us and we took the land. Same thing with Gaza, same thing with the Sinai Desert, same thing with the West Bank of the Jordan. We took all of that in a defensive war that we did not start. So let's get that clear right off the bat. Now, is it expanding into the Golan Heights, or is it actually settling in land that was conquered in a justified war? It depends what lens you look at it through, right? If you look at it through the lens of, oh no, it's illegal occupation, then okay, obviously you think we shouldn't expand into it. If you're thinking logically and saying that every place on Earth was won by conquest at one point or another, except perhaps Antarctica, then you'd see that, yeah, expansion is something that every nation does. Every sovereign, now look, there is displacement and exchange of land, and we've done that as well, right? Other countries, other nations, other empires who have won wars have also done displacement and, switching lands and switching people from time immemorial, right? Or since time immemorial. So, if we are to keep Syria at bay, and we don't necessarily have to now that the regime fell, but time will tell. Until we have a peace agreement with them, the Golan Heights is Israeli, right? By any virtue of whether it's legally, whether it's about war, whatever it is, the Golan Heights is Israeli. Should it remain Israeli if we have a peace agreement with Syria? Maybe not, but I don't know. First, let's have peace with our neighbors around us, then we'll see. Let's continue. Do you use shampoo when you shower? Yes, I do. I use a vegan shampoo because I am a vegan man. And I use it twice. I use it once for the first time. I let it sit for a minute, and then I rinse it out. That's to get rid of any buildup and stuff. And then I use again the same shampoo. I use it again, and this time usually I'll put some essential oils or whatnot inside of it, whether it's a peppermint or rosemary or lavender. And that I will let sit for 2 or 3 minutes. And then I will rinse that out. And then if I condition, then I condition from the mid from the mid-length down to the bottom. And if I wear a hair mask, I will do it the same, only a bit higher than the mid, more like from here. So that's my hair routine, pretty much. These crazy people, says Jimmy, don't understand that Epstein and Soros are secular leftists, and they have absolutely nothing to do with the frum Yidden. No, but they'll take a Jew is a Jew is a Jew is a Jew, just like it didn't matter to many enemies and would-be genocidal maniacs who said, no, it doesn't matter if you're a Jew, that's it, you're done. You could be the most leftist, liberal, anti-Zionist, self-hating Jew, they will still put a bullet in your head. Nathaniel says, would you like some private time with me? I want to show you my toolbox. You know what? I'm intrigued about your toolbox, because I don't know what toolbox you're talking about. Nathaniel, I'm not sure what to say. I'm intrigued. Leave a comment. Maybe we'll have some one-on-one time. Either way, if I miss you in the chat and you don't want to leave a comment, hit me up in the DMs. Speaking of one-on-one time, I'm always up for conversation when I can afford to have it. Hebrew Nazarite across the board. Look for my tree. I am on X. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on here. Yes. JP asks, why did David say, the Lord said to my Lord? Is this to God talking? And what does make your enemies my footstool mean? Right. Amati Adonai Elohimata. So it's not to the Lord, my Lord. First, just to know that I'm with the right verse. Rega. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hang on. Here. So I'm assuming that you're talking about the Psalms 16, verse 2. Now I'm looking at the Hebrew. The Christian one I know is different. I'm assuming you're talking about that. So that is Yod He Vav He and Adonai, Aleph Daled Nun Yod. Those are two separate divine revelations, two separate names, each pertaining to different things. One of them is the masculine divine revelation, and the other one is the feminine divine revelation. To say to the masculine, you are the feminine, or to say to Tiferet, you are Malchut, or to say to, or is it Elohim? Hang on a second. I need to know that I'm saying the right thing here. Yes. Yes, I'm assuming you're talking about that verse, but if you're not, then let me know. Hold on a second. Will you be able to reply in this? Hang on a second. Is it Psalms 16? Can you read that? Can you reply there? I'm not sure. But okay, I'm not sure if I can do that or not. Either way, it's two different divine emanations, two different divine names. It's not, both of them are not Lord. One of them is Adonai, Yod He Vav He. One of them is Adonai, Aleph Daled Nun Yod. So there's a big difference there. Okay. What made you go vegan, says Arun Karnopura. I'm sorry if I didn't answer the question fully. I'm sorry, there was another one. As for what does make your enemies my footstool, by footstool me? I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure about the Hebrew. Hang on a second. I'm trying to look for it in the Hebrew. Footstool by me, Psalms, and then I'll look for it in the Hebrew. Hang on a second. No. Okay. So no, it's 110. It's 110. I see. It's the same verse. Hang on a second. Now I'll look at it in the original Hebrew. Tehillim Kof Yod. Hang on a second. Tehillim Kof Yod. Okay. There we go. Okay, so it's not... Okay. It's not Adonai. All right, it's Adoni. It's not Adonai. So, what it says in Hebrew is, the words of Adonai, to my Lord, like the king or the leader or the anointed one, whatever it is, sit by my right until I make your enemies for your feet, right? Something that you can lord over. You will be on top of your enemies. That's what it means. In other words, that verse, which is 110, verse 1, right? To David, a psalm, to David a mizmor, or to David a hymn, or to David a chant, or a song to David, a song. Sometimes it's to David a song, sometimes it's a song to David, depending on which came first. Did the divine revelation come upon him, or did he seek out the divine revelation? That's why there's the David Mizmor or Mizmor le David. So, God said to the Lord, not to himself, that was my mistake, Adonai Yod He Vav He and Adonai Aleph Daled Nun Yod are indeed male and female divine revelation, or masculine and feminine divine revelation. In that I was correct. That's not what it says. See why you need the Hebrew? It says La'adoni, not La'adonai. That's why you need the Hebrew. Shevli yimini ad ashit oivecha hadom leraglecha. Right, okay. So sit by me until your enemies are below you. That's literally what that means. In other words, keep doing my thing, sit by my side, follow the covenant, and you will see that you will be victorious. Now, it's true physically, and it's true spiritually, and it's true in every conceivable level. If you go and you are right with God, it may not manifest fully the way you would think, and things have different ways of coming into the world. But that particular verse says that if you go to and sit by the right of God, and you are right with God, literally, and then your enemies will be your footstool. Your enemies will be that you can be above. There you go. As for what made me go vegan, Aurin, I took on veganism with my Nazarite vow. It's not inherently part of the vow, but the Nazariteship is about sanctifying life, and I took that as a way to sanctify life more physically, in what I eat, and what I dress, and what I wear, right, and the thing that I cover myself with at night. And I was a vegetarian before that. Veganism was definitely on my radar, but that's certainly what made me do it. Nathaniel says, my favorite Jew used to be Bob Dylan, now it's you. Hey, you know what? It can still be Bob. It's all good, but thank you for the vote of confidence there. Jimmy says, it's sad, but I appreciate your clear answers. I don't understand the hate. You have an amazing neshama, sir. Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate it. I think we all have an amazing neshama. Neshama means soul. I think we all have an amazing soul. It is... I try, I really do, and I fall short, and I definitely have not achieved this yet, but I strive to have my soul be made manifest through my actions and through my dealings every day, with every breath. I would love that. I won't be able to do that, but I would love that. Okay, let's continue. Matthew, hey Matthew! Are we beta testing some Third Temple wearable tech? Perhaps a new Keter Torah prototype? Maybe. That would be nice. Sid says, I have a question. Did some Jews see Ezra as the son of God? No, he was a scribe. He was just a man who led the people back from Babylon. Ezra means my angel. And the book of Job says that angels are sons of God. So no, angels are messengers. People are sons of God, right? And we have certain angels which might be called the sons of God in the sense that that it's one of the choirs of angels, right? We have Seraphim, we have Ophanim, we have Ishim, we have... But... Is Bnei Elohim one of the choirs of angels? I'll look at that quickly. I was just reading about that the other Shabbos. Eser Kitot Malachim. I'm not sure. Bnei Elohim? Maybe. Hang on a second. All right, let's see. Yes, Bnei Elohim is the 8th. Bnei Elohim is the 8th choir of angels from the top down. The 8th choir is indeed Bnei Elohim. So, as to your question, Ezra, right? Ezra might mean my angel. Does it mean my angel? I don't know if I ever found out what the name Ezra means. Mashma'ut Hashem Ezra. Let's see. Ezra, Ezer. No, it has nothing to do with my... no, Ezra is from Ezer, and that's what I thought. I thought maybe I got it wrong. No, Ezra is another way of saying Ezer, which is help, or which is assistance, right? And it has to do with leadership. And indeed, Ezra the scribe is one of those who led the people back from Babylon after King Cyrus, the great king of Persia, let them make Aliyah, right? Let them go back to the land of Judah. So yeah. He ran into a wall excited and broke his nose, says Wormask. So I broke my nose unofficially 2 or 3 times in my life. The last time was years ago, 14 years ago, when I crashed my bike outside of the Jerusalem Mall. Oh, man. Wow. Why do old Jew men marry black chicks, says Nathaniel. I have no idea. Why do old Jew men marry black chicks? I don't know. Are they black Jews or not? I think that, I would want to know that more. Hi, Amai says, I don't feel connected and feel out of place in the Orthodox community since it's not where I'm used to. I'm wondering what steps I should take. Well, look, first of all, ask yourself, do you want to be part of the Orthodox community? Do you want to be maybe do you want to follow Orthodox halacha, but ease into it community-wise and go with a more egalitarian and open and liberal one, like a conservative one or a reform one? You don't necessarily need to be a conservative Jew or a reform Jew in order to be part of that community. Do you know what I'm saying? Or Reconstructionist or whatever it is. I think that you can be an Orthodox Jew and at least want to follow the Orthodox halacha, and still maybe be part of a community that isn't. Because you can still do your thing. Now, Maybe Orthodox people would say, no, he should never do that. What a shonda. He should stay with the Orthodox people, even if they make him uncomfortable, or even if he doesn't feel comfortable, regardless of how they make him feel, even if he feels judged, even if he feels whatever it is that you're feeling, right? It's not what you're used to. So first of all, practice makes progress, and the more you go with it, the more you will get used to it. That's just the way it goes. The more you practice something, it moves from your front here to the back, and it becomes part of your life, and you do things automatically, so to speak. Not that you should be Orthodox or perform mitzvahs automatically, or pray automatically. No. But the life that you live, the Orthodox way of life, you could definitely get into it and get used to it, because you are a human being and you are a learning machine, and you can get used to almost anything. You adapt. You are wonderful in the way that you adapt. We have a high capacity for adaptation, us human beings, we talking monkeys. And if you feel out of place, maybe ease into it. I'm not saying become conservative or reform or reconstructionist. Continue doing the Orthodox thing. Continue keeping halacha to the degree that you keep halacha. But as far as the community, you might, first of all, there are so many Orthodox communities, so many. Maybe a Reb Shlomo Carlebach community will be a lot more understanding. Maybe you won't feel out of place there. I know that Reb Shlomo Carlebach, aside from what people say Reb Shlomo Carlebach did, and the fact that there is evidence that he was mistreating women, and that's not cool at all, but you can't deny that his teachings and the Torah that he brought into the world, and the nigunim, right, that he brought into the world, were something special, even if he himself was not, was not perfect and was a sexual predator of some kind, it seems. But the people who follow him, who are not sexual predators, they are wonderful communities, right? The Carlebach communities are wonderful, wonderful people by and large. Okay. Seraphim, six-winged angels. Yes, Seraphim are six-winged. I think that the Samech Mem, I think the Midrash says he had 12 wings before he fell. He had 12 wings. Hi, I understand why you wouldn't feel connected to Orthodox Judaism if you were not born into it. Aaron says, supposedly Rabbi Yitzchak Luria, the Ari, was mostly vegan and believed it was beneficial for some people for spiritual reasons. Wonder if you resonate with this. Oh yes, for sure. Veganism has elevated everything, right? It has elevated the way that I live my life. And certainly when it came on, when I took my vow, it elevated the Nazariteship to my own personal Nazariteship. I'm not a better person than anyone else. I'm not greater or wiser or holier than anyone else. I am the lowest of the low. I am a worm. With that out of the way, with my Nazariteship and the vow that I took, veganism has totally elevated it. And I love it. I do love the Nazariteship. It is a wonderful thing. Many people say I'm an abomination and I misrepresent it, and and that I should stop. And I'm mentally ill, and I'm full of shit. God bless them. They can think whatever they want. Unless they are me, they don't have a say in how I live my life. That's it. That's true that. By the way, that's true to each and every one of you too. Unless that person is you, that's it. That's it. That's all it is. Chris says, did anyone meet said angel? Well, I'm not sure which angel you mean, but I've had some run-ins. So yes, definitely. Rabbi Yitzchak Luria was a great sage and a great Kabbalist. I don't go with the Lurianic teachings, but I have had some introductions in Lurianic teachings, and they are lovely, but they are not for me. I study the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, right? I study his teachings, and he was the Ari's master for a short time while they both lived in Tzfat. Oh, I missed Tzfat. Okay, let's continue. Brian says, you are right, this is moronic, especially how much they deny from their own scriptures. Jews are lost and will only know when it's time. Nothing will wake them up. Well, supposedly, I'm just assuming here that you're a Christian man or a follower of Jesus, to which I will say, yes, I am definitely blind, ignorant, asleep, synagogue of Satan, worship Satan, whatever it is you want me to say, I'll say it. If you are so arrogant to think that you are the one who is awake and all of the Jews all over the world are asleep, then, hey, go with that, good luck with that. I love you for saying it, and you know what? You're correct. I am definitely asleep, definitely blind, stiff-necked, wrought with a metal heart like the Tin Man. No, I'm sorry, the Tin Man has no heart. Well, I'm a Tin Man with a tin heart. Machine men with machine minds? Remember that? Huh? Where was that from? Okay. Suas Pontus says, WTF. Indeed, WTF. Continuing down the chat, Thinking Time says, oh, the chat just jumped. I lost my place. Ah! Oh, man. Nate says, how is the food in Jerusalem? The food is excellent. The thing is that I'm vegan, and I'm not much of a foodie, even before I was vegan. So, yeah. Hey, I mean, look, hummus. I love the hummus in Jerusalem. Love it. Alejandro says, how do you feel about Christians? I feel they are Christians. What about Kabbalah? What about it? Depends on the type of Kabbalah that you study or practice. But I'm a fan. Nathaniel says, if all Jews were like you, there'd be less anti-Semitism. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but I'm still a piece of shit sometimes. I still do things that are wrong sometimes. I still, I try to do better with each passing day, but I will always be failing. I will always be falling. The thing is that I will always be succeeding and always be getting back up. Right? We get the fuck up. Jay says, what did you do wrong? What did you get wrong? I'd love to discuss these topics with another well-studied being. Unfortunately for you, I'm not well-studied. I have the things that I like, but I'm not a learned man. I'm not an educated man. So maybe someone else. However, I'm not sure what you mean, what did you get wrong? Because this was a couple of minutes ago, and I don't remember precisely what I was talking about when I said things that I got wrong. But, hit me up in the chat, Jay. Hit me up in the DMs. I would love to discuss matters, as my brother says. Alexander says, is it true that numbers are connected to the literature of your faith? Yes, the Gematria, the numerical value of the letters. There are 12 different types of Gematria. 12, according to the Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, right, the Ramak. There are 12 different types of deriving numerical value from the letters, 12 different ways in which to see the letters and derive the value from. So the Gematria, the numerical value, they say in the Mishnah, it's the dessert of wisdom. In other words, it's not a wisdom in and of itself that's like something major, like a main course, right, an aperitif. I mean what's it called? The main course, the entree. But it is a dessert. Right? It's an amuse-bouche or a dessert, something that comes at the beginning or something that comes at the end to either tie things together or smooth into a teaching or a piece of wisdom, but it's not something in and of itself. Now, many people will disagree. Kabbalists, certain Kabbalists will say, no. I mean, look, the New York Nazarite Aleph Alif is heavily into the Gematria as well. And far be it from me to gatekeep or say that he's wrong or say that people who are immersed in Gematria are wrong. I have only right what the Ramak said. He said, if you convert certain letters, you switch them around, you take this letter and after that letter, and you derive numerical value this way or that way, you can arrive at any numerical value if you manipulate the letters long enough. You can arrive at anything if you manipulate the numbers long enough, right? If it is 1,000, is 1,000 one? There is mispar gadol, mispar katan. Like I said, 12 different ways to derive Gematria. So, I'm very cautious, but yes, Gematria is a wonderful thing. It's really, truly wonderful, especially when it fits in nicely with a piece of lore or wisdom or Torah. Some people say it is like the bulk of everything and that you should totally be, but I'm not like that. Whoa, super chat came in. Ayush, hi Ayush, nice to see you again. I have found myself stuck in a rut and suffering from mediocrity my whole life. I have now reached a point where I believe if I don't do anything, I will fail in my own eyes. How do you gather courage? The way you gather courage is memento mori. Remember that you're a dead man or woman. You are a dead human being. You are a walking, talking, breathing, living, writing, typing human being. You are dead. You are a dead man. Dead. Are you dead now? No? Good. You still draw breath? You still are of relatively sound mind and sound body? Not that I say that I am. Then do something. Do something with the time you have. Anything, but do it. Because you know what? There will come a day, I don't know when, where your body will fail you. It can take a long time. It can be in a split second, a car wreck, or a long disease. Lo alenu, may it not come, but you never know when your number is up. Ever. Memento mori. Remember you are mortal. Remember that you are dead. You're a dead man. but now you're alive, miraculously, the chances of you being a human being on Earth right now is some ridiculously long number to one, right? The statistical possibility of you being a human being, right? Out of all the earthlings and creatures from the macro to the micro that have ever lived. So you know what? I'll look that up right now. It's some ridiculous number. Hang on a second. The chances of being born a human being. The chances of being born human now, let's see, 1 in 400 trillion, okay? The probability of you being a human being, according to the science, is 1 in 400 trillion. That is 1 to the power of 10, right? Which is with 2,685,000, right, on top of the 10. It's this ridiculously huge number, 1 in 400 trillion. That is the probability of you being a human being on Earth right now. Isn't that amazing? I think it is. So mediocrity is something that we all need to deal with. You will never be highly specialized and highly successful and highly, in everything all the time. Choose for now one thing, one specific thing, whatever it is that shines before you, whatever it is that you feel called to, whatever it is that says, hey, you know what? What about that? Something you're curious about. Go, specialize in that. It can be academic, it can be practical, it can be of the mind or the soul or the heart, or I don't know what it is for you. But there are things in life that call to you. At the end of the day, your mind is racing, you put your head down on the pillow. Incidentally, I don't sleep with a pillow, but it's not for a few years. I found that it's better for me. But, for all intents and purposes, you're lying down, you quiet your mind if it's possible, or you meditate before bed, or you do yoga before bed, which can help quiet the mind, right? And still those rushing waters. And ask yourself, talk to yourself as if you don't know who you are, right? Hitbodedut, seclusion within the self. Talk to yourself, or to God if you believe in a higher deity, right? A higher power, or a deity, or a polytheistic, whatever polytheistic God you go for at that time of place, in that season. In that time and place or season, you probably will fail in your eyes if you are mediocre, because some people can be mediocre and they are content with it, and that's fine, right? What did Thoreau say? Most people, or did he say Englishmen, live out their lives in quiet desperation. I think it was Henry David Thoreau. Someone, at any rate, said, some philosopher said, most men live out their lives in quiet desperation. If you're willing to accept that as your fate, cool, there's nothing I could tell you. But if you are interested in being more than mediocre, and if you will not settle, and I advise you not to settle, right? You don't need to be the most special person. You don't need to be the best person at everything. You need to be you. You need to be the best you. No more, no less, right? Zusha Vanipoli, he died hundreds of years ago, and he said, when I die and I go up to be judged, I'm not afraid they will ask me, why weren't you Moses? I'm afraid they will ask me, why weren't you you? Why weren't you Zusha? So, Ayush, the question you need to ask yourself, am I Ayush? Am I truly who I am? Am I the stories I tell myself? Am I the religion I was indoctrinated into? Am I the faith I was born into? Am I the bullying that I suffered in middle school? Am I I don't know what, with so many, right, nature, nurture, so many things, all the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, figure out, right, separate the wheat from the chaff, do some filtration process within yourself, find out what it is that you are meant to do in this world. You definitely have a job to do. You definitely have a task that only you can do. Figure that out. And until you do figure that out, at least take on a path. At least take on a burden, a responsibility of some kind. And I say the best one to take on is that which already draws you and calls to you and shines before you and piques your curiosity. Courage. How do you gather courage? You're going to die. Be courageous, because one day you won't have the option. Now you have the option. When you're dead, you will not have the option. Once your soul leaves, once this physical mortal coil is back in the earth, or in the Ganges River, or burned in some incinerator, you won't be able to be courageous. You won't be able to fail. You won't be able to be mediocre. You won't be able to suffer. You won't be able to be stuck in a rut. You won't be able to reach a point. There will be no point. Now is the point. Now is the time. That's what I have to say. All right, we're continuing in the super chat. Another one came in. Hang on. Roasted says, Shalom from a Reformed Jew. Shalom to you. Very cool to see a Nazarite on YouTube. Yes, indeed. That's part of why I'm doing this. Because there were many Christians, followers of Jesus, or people teaching Masechet Nazir, but I did not see a Nazarite on YouTube. And then I did. All right, Aleph. He's the first one that I met on YouTube. So, when do you think the super strength will come in? Just kidding, Boker Tov. Well, here it's 11:54 p.m., but good morning to you too. Super strength, right? Samson had super strength. I have no such super strength. I am fairly strong for my build, I've been told. I am fairly strong for my build. So, I'm happy with that. As for super strength, I seek to make my body stronger. I seek to make my mind stronger. I seek to strengthen myself in different ways. And in many ways, I am still a weakling, right? In many ways, I am still very weak, but I'm seeking to strengthen myself. Definitely. And it's an ideal, right? It's an ideal that I need to seek out and go for and follow. It doesn't mean I'll get to it, but I strive to live that life. And I always fail. And I'm always going to fail. But okay. What is your profession, sir? I'm a writer. That's what I am. I'm a copywriter. For the past over a decade now, I've been a copywriter. I studied screenwriting in film school about 14 years ago. I haven't done that for a living yet. I was a freelance screenwriter for a year right after school, but since then, nothing that I've, but that was for someone else. Nothing that I have written, movies or TV series have so far been produced, but I'm hopeful. So yeah, I'm a writer. I've always been a writer. I've been a man of words ever since I was a young boy. Markisa Hargitay. I don't know what that means. Mariska Hargitay. How are you doing today? I'm doing really, really well. I'm doing very well. I am having a very blessed day. Truly, I am. And you know what? Let's say I didn't have a great day. If I can sit here with you, it's almost midnight in Jerusalem. It's a new moon. Tomorrow night's a new moon. It's Rosh Chodesh. It's a new moon. Tonight is the 30th of Shvat. And tomorrow is the 1st of Adar. Adar is a blessed month. Every month is blessed, but Adar specifically, the 12th month according to the Hebrew calendar. And it's an amazing month, the month of Purim. When Adar comes in, we what would be marbin besimcha? We are leharbot. See, it's midnight. I'm forgetting my English. Anyway, we become more joyful when Adar comes in. And if I can sit here at midnight and with a cup of tea and talk to you good people, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. Are you homeless? Says Captain Farthouse. I love the name, Captain. Oh, Captain, my Captain. I love the name, Captain. No, Captain, sir. I'm not homeless. Some people might think it, but no, I have always had a wonderful home to come home to. Also, my woman is my home, so even if I was homeless, if I was still with her, I would not consider myself homeless. And no, I've not. I have such a lovely home. I am so grateful. So grateful. There's so much tragedy going on in the world. So much of the world is covered in darkness and in terrible, terrible tragedy. And so if I can sit here with you with a cup of tea in the comfort of my own home with this Lego hat on my head and we can talk some Torah, I am truly blessed. I live in such abundance. I give thanks to the Most High God. I give thanks to you, good people. Speaking of which, I'll give thanks to you right now as a quick aside. Thank you, each and every one of you, those watching now, those watching later. The likes and the subs and the views and the vitriol and the hate and the encouragement and the love and everything you sent my way, people in the chat, people in the comments. Incidentally, if I didn't get to your chat, because there are like hundreds of people here that come and go, please leave me a comment. I address every single comment that is addressed to me. So please leave a comment and I will get to it. But I don't take it for granted. You're taking time out of your day, out of your night, on this new moon to celebrate, to talk some Torah, to blah, 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 right? To listen to my rants and ravings and ramblings and Okay. Look up the movie The Guru. That's what it's off of, Colorado. Now, you know what? I saw the first 2 minutes. Is that the Mike Myers movie? Here's the thing. I loved Austin Powers 1. I saw Austin Powers 2. Loved it less. I didn't bother with number 3. And with The Guru... Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's The Love Guru. My mistake. That's The Love Guru. I watched the first 2 minutes and I said, nope, I'm out. I noped out of that movie. The Guru. I don't know what that is, but okay. Sid says, as a vegan, what's your opinion on the sacrifice of the red heifer? Well, my opinion is, let's put it this way. Halachically speaking, practically speaking, in order for us to be rid of defilement of death, 2 ways in which you can do that. 1, the ashes of the red heifer in the water with the hyssop, and you sprinkle it on a person on the 3rd day of defilement and the 7th day of defilement, and then they are pure, right? They bring their sacrifices and whatnot, and then they are ritually pure, ritually clean. Another way to rid oneself of defilement of death is to take on the Nazarite vow. That's another way to do it.
You missed a super chat.
I missed a super chat. Hang on a second. I need to go back there. My woman said I missed a super chat. I wouldn't want to do that. Miss a chat? Oh, here we go. Was it the heaven and hell one?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks. See? It's a good thing to have a woman. By the book miniseries. All right. Is it by the book or is it a miniseries? Make up your mind, huh? Just got here. Thoughts on heaven and hell. Well, the Jews have no hell. We have something close to purgatory, a place of refinement and cleansing. Livriut. But we have no hell. That is, we have no Christian hell where you burn in a pit of, lake of fire, or a pit of excrement, or a pit of boiling semen, or, forever.
Ew.
Hey, it's one of the purgatories. You can see why that would be the case, right? Something brings life into the world, and the other is what you... No? Okay, she doesn't. Okay, well, okay. Have a good night, baby doll. So yes. Heaven and hell. Heaven is a waiting room, and hell does not exist. What there is a temporary place of purgation. So those are my thoughts. Hell is that, and heaven is a waiting room. It's not the end goal, it's a waiting room. Okay, let us continue. I second that. Jewish take on Enoch. Enoch, who is he to the Talmud? What's better, tea or coffee? Ooh, good question. I'll get to that in a minute. Tea, I'm inclined to say tea is better than coffee. Okay. Wait, look. Hanoch, right, walked before God and was taken away. He is one of 2 who did not die. Hanoch and Eliyahu. Some say that it's that Hanoch, right, that Hanoch is later reincarnated into Pinchas. Pinchas is later reincarnated into Eliyahu. But I guess I digress. So, Enoch, who is he to the Talmud? I don't know what you mean by the Talmud, but Hanoch became the angel Metatron. Hanoch became traditionally the higher angel. He became the highest angel because he is not an angel. He is a human who became an angel, which means that he is not an angel. He's a human in angelic form. And that's different because a human being with a soul is higher than the angels from the get-go. And so he is the highest angel. He is traditionally the voice of God, if you will, or the ruler of the 6 days of creation, right? He has authority, let's say, during the 6 days of creation. But there are no 2 authorities, right? The kingship and the sovereignty and the authority and the rule is God's. Let's make that very clear. There are no 2 authorities. It's not that Metatron, the angel, Sar HaPanim. It's not that he is somebody who is to be worshipped. It's not that he is somebody who is God or a deity. He is a messenger. He is a messenger like any other angel, but he is the highest angel of a different sort. He has a very specific task. By the book says, thoughts on Christian support of Israel. Well, some Christians support Israel because they want us all to convert. Some Christians support Israel because they say that it will hasten the second coming of Jesus. And some Christians support Israel simply because Israel is Jewish, and they recognize that the Jews have a covenant with God, or at the very least had a very special covenant with God at some point. So my thoughts on it? My thoughts on that you can support as individuals. But the United States giving money to Israel, even if 80% of it goes right back to the United States, and even if part of the remaining 20% does end up back in the US, I think that many Americans are pissed off at the higher ups and the powers that be in the US for giving money to Israel. So Christian support, I'm assuming it's the US. See, that's my mistake. Christian support is the things that I said. I think that it's welcomed to some degree. I'll tell you a story. When I was, what was it, 2014, and I was with my unit around Gaza, and there was a Christian organization that sent a pizza and sushi our way and gave us t-shirts. And we, as the platoon, right, me and my unit, we welcomed it with open arms. And the fact that they were Christian didn't really matter, because they were just people who wanted to give something back to Israeli soldiers, so I definitely did not mind that support. Let's put it that way. But it really does depend by the book what you consider support, and I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how you mean it. But generally speaking, support of Israel, to whatever degree it's done, is a blessed thing. Now, you shouldn't be so supportive of Israel that you forget to support your own local, charities, your friends and neighbors, people who are in need around you. It's like, don't look so far away to the Middle East. And of course, if you're a Christian in Israel, yeah, certainly, it's your local environment. But there's a rule when it comes to tzedakah, right, to charity. The poor people locally, right, your own town, your own city, go to them first. If you're giving to charity, the poor people in your town, in your vicinity, they come first. So I'm inclined to say that. Okay. What about donating to Friends of Magen David Adom? What about it? It's a very noble and blessed cause, right? It's ambulances, and it's paramedics, and it's doctors, emergency medicine. And I, as a field medic who was on those ambulances sometimes, I say, hey, that's cool. Let's continue. What about the poor people of Palestine, says whatever you say, okay. The poor people of Palestine should make peace with Israel, and step one would be ridding themselves of the terrorist organizations that rule them. And and step two is make peace with Israel. Some Palestinians are indeed poor, even if not in material things and finances, and many of them are, sadly. But they are poor because they are stuck between a rock and a hard place. They are stuck between Hamas and the IDF. And that's not a good position to be in any way, any conceivable way. And these are people who I do believe that there are plenty of Palestinians who, because they are stuck, they feel that they can't outwardly go against Hamas, nor do they want to support the IDF even if they want to get rid of Hamas. But they are sort of relegated to the dregs of society that Hamas keeps them in. And Hamas could have invested in infrastructure, Hamas could have invested in industry, Hamas could have invested in, bomb shelters for its civilians and citizens. It didn't. It invested in more terror tunnels, more munitions, more rockets, more money for the freedom fighter terrorists, and more money to Hamas leaders who are growing rich and fat in Qatar. That's what I think about the poor Palestinians. They need peace, just like we do. And they are poor. Indeed, they are poor. That's not okay. We need peace. Jesus is the only way, peace for the world, he says. Well, so says you. Peace for the world. I agree with the second part. Right? That's in the end of the movie 7. I agree with the second part. Peace for the world, indeed. And peace on earth, goodwill. Emma says you should donate the money to the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking. That would really throw the anti-Semites into a frenzy. Well, look, since it's the community that's giving the money to charity, once I get my first payment, I will consult, right, and go to the community, like I already did in a previous post. I asked them to give me suggestions of where to give to, and they have. So once I get the money, I'll have a proper poll with the suggestions that got the most likes. I'll try to do it properly so the community will get what it wants from the money that it gave so generously. Omar says, doesn't the Torah say the Jews should wander nationless until the Messiah comes? No, it does not say that even once, not even a little bit. What it does say is that if we arrive at our land, or not our land, at the land that we were given, or the land we were promised, or the land that we merited, right, through our forefathers, because the land belongs to the Creator, right? We are stewards, we are caretakers. It doesn't belong to us. We live there, right? If we get to the land where we are going to live, that's better. and we forsake the covenant, and we turn away from God, and we transgress, we will get our asses handed to us by our enemies and go right to exile and sold into slavery in foreign lands that we don't know. That's what it says. And it says that no matter what, there will be some of us left, even if it's a little bit. We'll be slaves in foreign lands after a war, a horrible war, a real Holocaust, but we will remain. Because even if we turn away from the covenant remains. Even if we transgress and go against it, the covenant exists. So, we are told that once we return to the covenant, we will return back to that land. So, or the other way around, where we return to the land and return to the covenant, it's not exactly clear what comes first, but tshuva, repenting, right? Repenting, that's what ought to come first. And if even a handful of Jews, let's say, in foreign lands, do make tshuva and repent and return to the ways of Torah, that already merits everyone coming back. So what it says, what you said that the Torah says, it does not say, Omar. It does not say that we should wander nationless, for sure. Okay. What is your daily job? I'm a writer. I'm a copywriter. That's my daily job. Dimitri? No. DM Ristici. Not sure what you mean. Screw Palestine, says Ethan. No. Screw the terrorist groups. Screw the corrupt, bloodthirsty, warmongering leadership. Screw the combatants. Yes. Not Palestine. The British mandate of Palestine is this. Jews were Palestinians before the state of Israel, right? We had a Palestinian passport. Sid says, so Nazarites can set foot on the Temple Mount area without further purification? At least that is the opinion of the Nazarite Rabbi Yehoshua Friedman and many others, yes. When a Nazarite takes on the Nazariteship, he or she are taken out. Oh, and it's also the opinion of of the Nazarite Rabbi Gabriel David, who wrote the book Nezirut Israel. So, yes, a Nazarite, unless they are defiled again, when you take on the Nazarite vow, you go out, right? You extricate yourself from ritual defilement of corpses, of death. Yes. And then it's just a question of keeping it that way, which is why a Nazarite for a set period of time, which is one of the 4 Nazariteships, a Nazarite that's for a set period of time, let's say 60 days, if within those 60 days he comes across a dead body, or he is defiled by a human corpse, or a human, right, dead body, he must start the count over, bring offerings, shave his head, and start the vow over, 60 days. Also, as a Muslim, thank you for answering questions about some of the stuff I've been curious about. Hey, sure, Sid, I don't answer, I address questions. Because far be it from me to say that I answer. That's above my pay grade. Now, there is the opinion that nobody can set foot on the Temple Mount, right? Not even Nazarites. People would say, no, not until Messiah comes. Oh, no, not until the priests purify the people. But yes, technically speaking, halachically speaking, Nazarite men and women who took the Nazarite vow and who have not been defiled by death can get on that Temple Mount if the prohibition is that you're not allowed to go up there. Now, there are different reasons that do not have to do with defilement of corpses that are also relevant, such as we don't precisely know where the court was. We don't precisely know where the holy was, where the holiest of holies was. And that was a place that was only for Israelites, right, or Levites, or priests, or the high priest. The further in you go, the more limitations there are on who can actually set foot there. If a priest would set foot, who is not the high priest, if a normal priest, right, would set foot in the holiest of holies, he would die. If the high priest set foot in there, not on the holiday of atonements, Yom Kippur, he would die. If a Levite set foot where he should not, he would die. You see what I'm saying? So, or at least that's halacha, right? That's the tradition. That's why we are not allowed to set foot there. It's not only defilement of death, it's not knowing precisely where it is that we are stepping and what the sacredness of the place entails. When have you been sold into slavery across the 4 corners of the earth, says Stroboogie. When have you been sold into slavery across the four corners of the earth? I, thank God, have not been a slave, at least not in the classical sense. But there have been times when the Hebrews were sold into bondage. The Babylonian exile comes to mind. Okay. When was the last time you washed? Asks Luke. When was the last time I washed? 2 days ago or before Shabbat? I think before Shabbat. So it's been a couple of days. Great, the synagogue of Satan is talking shit again, says Fib Commander. Hey, you call yourself Fib Commander and you say that I'm talking shit? First of all, I'm definitely talking shit. I'm just coming right out. And I'm talking like real verbal diarrhea, like dark, liquid, stinky, smelly, no chunks, just liquid, asshole burning diarrhea. You know the kind, right? That's what I'm spewing here. Let's continue. You do look visibly unwashed. Oh, sorry, the chat jumped. Someone says I look visibly unwashed. Yeah, but okay, see, that's just me and the unkempt beard and the unkempt hair. But trust me, I even moisturize. Earlier today, I groomed my mustache. And I moisturize my face every day. I cut my nails 2 days ago. See? So I'm not as ungroomed as I may appear at first glance. So, yeah. Luke Miller, how are you, my friend? He says, and how are you? It's good to see you. Salman says, do Jews study other contemporary disciplines while studying to become a rabbi? Or is it restricted to religious text only? Well, look, nowadays to become a rabbi, what's called yoreh, which is the lowest form of rabbiniteship or of rabbinic studies, it's basically studying halacha, right? It's being able to sit the exam of the basic rabbinite, of the basic rabbinic yoreh position, which is somebody who, as far as I remember, you need to know the halachot of Shabbat, Nida. Oh, what is it? What is it? Hold on a second. Anyway, no, you don't need to study anything else. Obviously, it's better if you can be knowledgeable on other things, of course. Hang on a second. So which one it is? Which one is it? Ilchot, Shabbat, Nida. Hold on, let me see. What did I miss? What was it? Here. Shabbat, Isur v'Heter, Nida. I had 2 out of 3. So Shabbos, anything to do with menstruation, and right and wrong, which is, well, you don't know. Isur v'Heter, Tum'ah v'Tahara, right? What is right and what is wrong, generally speaking. Yes. Now, it has to do with, let's say, kashrut law. It has to do with basically kashrut law, isur v'heter, right? Things that are kosher and things that are not kosher. Shabbos and things to do with menstruation, right? And all that, and that ritual purity. So, yeah. Let's continue. Where does he live? AK, I'm assuming you're talking about me. I'm in Jerusalem. Where do you live? You saying you're Hebrew Nazareth? No, I'm not. I'm not from Nazareth. I'm a Nazarite. Nazareth is a town. Nazrat is a town. Nazarite is a vow. Learn the difference. And you just know it. Yet aren't Christian. No, Jason, I'm not a Christian man. I'm not from Nazareth. I've been there, but I'm not from there, and I don't go there. A Nazarene is someone from Nazareth, or a Christian who doesn't quite follow Paul, if that's what I was told by a Christian. So Nazarenes, right? Not Nazarite. I'm a Hebrew Nazarite or Nazir. No, I'm not a Christian. Let's continue. What is Rohaniyat and Kabbalah the same? No, I'm assuming you mean Ruchaniyut. Ruchaniyut is spirituality. Kabbalah is the study of the divine relationships and the divine emanations and the divine revelations to do with this world and with the physical form and with the Torah. That's what Kabbalah is, right? It's the way God reveals himself in the world through the 10 Sfirot. Ruchaniyut is simply spirituality. Now, Kabbalah is certainly spiritual, but it is also highly practical to those who practically practice. As for ruchaniyut, ruchaniyut is just spirituality. It can be any teaching, really. Let's continue. What are you wearing on your head, says Dominic. I'm wearing my kids' Legos. Or, it's not proper Lego. We have Lego, we have Mega Bloks, we have Duplo, and we have this. I don't remember the precise name of this, but yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Boop. You respect Islam, says your fave. Let's put it this way. I have many issues, and that's why I don't know Islam. I have issues with the Islam that's here to kill me, right? But I'm well aware of the fact that that's not, let's say, classic Islam, or that's not Islam that's practiced by all Muslims. So do I respect it? Not by those who come to kill me, but yes, I do respect Islam in the sense that I know Muslims who are good people. And I know that the 5 pillars of Islam have a lot of good in them, right? Those 5 pillars are genuinely good things. Incidentally, to all of the Muslims, Ramadan Kareem, a very blessed Ramadan, which is starting tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken, right? With the first of Adar, so it starts tomorrow night. Maybe for you it starts tonight, because it's 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. Maybe for you it starts tonight, or maybe it's tomorrow night, because I know the first of Adar for us is tomorrow night, but maybe Ramadan starts tonight. Either way, have a very blessed and wonderful Ramadan, and may you take advantage of this holy and blessed month to better yourselves. Yeah, and do good things. Do good things for other people. Do Jews care if Gentiles convert? It's encouraged by some people. It's discouraged by other people. Do Jews care? They definitely should care, because we are commanded in the Torah to love the convert, to treat them well, and to not cheat them, and to not berate them, and to not remind them of transgressions they may have done in their past, although that's also true to others, but definitely the convert. So do Jews care? It's not a question of caring. It's a question of we respect those who do. I can't speak for the Jews. I respect the crap out of anybody who voluntarily takes on the covenant of the Hebrew faith because they are called to it. Not only did they go with their calling, but they actually went and they did it. And that's an amazing thing to me. So I really, truly respect those who do that. Oh, wait, the live chat just... What happened? The live chat just disappeared. Hang on a second. Okay, here. Ether says, Yehudim hem lo missionerim. Jews are not missionary. No, we do not proselytize. That's true. We don't advertise and say, come, join the faith. Everybody, join the faith. You all should be Jewish. No. We don't think that we aren't meant to take over the world. We are meant to just do our Hebrew thing. We're just a bunch of Hebrew people looking to do our Hebrew thing. The world has major issues with this. The world has so many issues with the Hebrew people doing their Hebrew thing. Lord knows why. I'm a ger, says Tony. Good for you. See, I respect the crap out of any gerim. Any of them. They're just unbelievable to me. Really unbelievable. Do you practice metzitza b'peh? No, I'm not a moel. I don't perform circumcision. When my boys had their circumcision done, I was there. And I held other babies, and I was a godfather to 1 or 2 babies that were circumcised. But because I don't perform the circumcision, I didn't do the milah, pri'ah, or metzitza, which is cutting off the foreskin, spreading the skin, and sucking out blood from the wound. But the metzitza b'peh, I always say this, should be done nowadays or all the time with a single-use sterile apparatus, like a straw-like medical thing, and not with the mouth. You don't want any infection. You don't want any possible, virality or whatever to go through. So I practice it in the sense that the moel that circumcised my kids did do that, again, with a little straw, not actually putting the mouth on my kid's penis. But yes. Let's continue. Call sign says, lived in Israel for 2 years back in 1516 in Beersheba. A majority of the people told us to leave and get the fuck out, so I left. Got tired of getting screamed at while supporting the Iron Dome. Ugh, what a horrible experience. I don't blame you for getting out. That's not cool. But call sign, I'm curious. In what capacity were you living there? That makes a difference, I suppose. if you were there, let's say, protesting I don't know what you were doing. Actually, you were allowed to protest. I don't know what it is that you could have done that would have people screaming at you to get out. What were you doing? I'm really curious at what you were doing. But okay. Dick Ballington says, is it true some rabbis use their teeth or mouth when doing a circumcision? Well, what do you mean? Not to perform the circumcision. That's done with a surgical blade, right? Incidentally, I have all of the blades that were used, the single-use surgical blade, right? I have all of them up there, right, with the rest of my stuff. It's said to be something to hold on to. It has like the first blood of the covenant of circumcision on the blade, and that's why I keep them. It's supposed to be be something that brings about a blessing to the house. And you could say that it's bullshit, but I still keep it as a keepsake. The blades that were used to cut the foreskin and that drew the first blood of the covenant from my kids. So some rabbis use their mouth when performing the circumcision, not the actual separation of the foreskin, but the sucking out of blood from the wound. However, no, you should not use your mouth because you don't know how clean it is. And even if you think it's the cleanest, and even if you chugged a liter of Listerine beforehand and spat it out, you still don't know what you have going on, right? And you have so much bacteria in your mouth, so no, do it with a straw. Let's continue. The purple Digimon on his head. See, I never watched Digimon. I never watched Digimon. Should I? Maybe I should. Oh, I'm almost done with my cup of tea. I'm almost done with my tea, and I'm almost on for 2 hours, and I might say goodbye soon, but maybe not, because I'm loving this. I'm loving this so much. You people out there, I love it so much. You give me such joy, right? Those watching now and later, the people in the chat, the people in the comments, the lovers and the haters, the embracers and the naysayers, the trolls and the spammers, the Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, the Hindus, the Shintos, the Baha'is, the Rastas, the atheists. I love you guys. It's so awesome to be here with you again from Jerusalem. I know I do this almost every day, but I still am in awe. It's still a wonder to me. This internet thing, right? You're looking at me right now on a pixelated screen of zeros and ones, and I'm here in Jerusalem in my home, talking to the lens, right? Talking to my phone and looking at the laptop. But there's real energy here, right? It's live, and it's raw, and it's happening right now, and it's magical. And I deeply appreciate your time and your kind and gentle attention, and I don't take it for granted, not in the least. A super chat came in. Speaking of, and I certainly don't take for granted your kindness and your generous donations to this, to the channel, to the charity that the channel will give to. Why did Moses' wife throw her son's foreskin at Moses' feet? What was the point of that? And what is a covenant? What is a covenant? A covenant, I would say, is a deep sort of agreement, a pact, a unique sort of agreement. Let's put it that way. That's what a covenant is. It's a very deep and inherent, life-changing promise, right? Something that is not broken easily, or even if it's broken easily, it's something that ought not be broken easily. It's something like fundamental. It's something that can be life-altering. You have your life before the covenant, you have the life after the covenant. And this includes the covenant of Shabbos, it includes the covenant of circumcision, it includes the covenant of marriage, it includes the covenant of tefillin, it includes the covenant of the Nazariteship. And any individual covenant that you make with you and yours, right? Or with your God. So the idea of throwing the son's foreskin at Moses' feet, presumably because he's not the one, because he was late in doing it. He was late in doing it. Now, first of all, there is an esoteric meaning to what happened there on the way to Egypt. And I don't know it offhand, but to everything physical that's written in the Torah, the physical Torah that we know written on a scroll or in a book, that's the physical manifestation of something with a deeper spiritual root, a higher spiritual root. By the time it comes down here, it's separated into these words and vowels and good and evil and thou shalt and thou shalt nots, and these stories which may be myth, or may be fairy tale, or may be folklore and legend, or may have actually happened like that. Many dualities, right? The Torah begins with a duality. Bereshit starts with a bet. Bet is the second letter, not the first. The Ten Commandments start with an Aleph, Anochi. It's the second one is Elohim. Elohim is the plurality, the plural, the duality. Now, you have the physical Torah, but you have the esoteric spiritual Torah, let's say. So the point, physically speaking, was to tell him, you done messed up, Moses. You should have done this before. This is the covenant of circumcision that you should have performed. So yeah. Oh, was there another super chat that came in? I'm sorry, maybe I missed it. Hang on. Ah, okay, there it is. By the Book says, why is Jesus so hated if there is no afterlife? So first of all, I think the reason Jesus is hated, I don't hate him. I've said many times it could be that I would have followed him myself if I was around at the time. I would have been happy to call him master. But, Jesus is hated not for being Jesus. I think Jesus is hated because of Christianity that followed and that caused the Jews so much misery, with so much persecution and and death and grief and destruction and exile. So, and expulsion, right, from Spain, from England, from so many places. And as for an afterlife, there are two ways of looking at the afterlife. A, you can look at it as the existence after death here. But that's not life. That's after death. Afterlife will be when we partake of the fruit of the tree of life. That's afterlife. That's true resurrection. That's what resurrection means. Death came into the world in Eden. Death will be taken away from the world in Eden. Right? We still have a job to do, a mission to accomplish. We have not yet partaken of the fruit of the tree of life. And we will, God willing, in due time, in due season, in due course, as a unified human race, embracing together, coming together as one to start humanity phase 2, back in Eden, back where we came from. That will be awesome. Let's see. Yoharashi says, do you see Israel and Gaza coexisting? What do you mean? Definitely. We will coexist with anybody who is willing to coexist with us. We don't want war. We don't want death. We don't want destruction. We don't want innocent people to die. How many wars does Israel need to win? How many wars does Israel need to undergo? No, definitely. I see us coexisting. May it happen even right now as I'm speaking these words. I don't know how, but may it come to pass. And if it doesn't come to pass now, once God pours his Spirit upon all flesh, like it says in the book of Yoel, we will all come together. We will all come together finally and tear down the walls that separate us and take down the things that blind us and open our eyes. To all my brothers and sisters in Christ, be kind, says By the Books. Indeed, kindness is a good thing. Kindness and humility. That's a good way to go through the world, with kindness and humility. Tony says, do your boys wear a kippah and or padas? No, my boys don't wear a kippah because I think the kippah has become from something that is really cool, right, which is supposed to represent you lowering yourself and something being on top of you, something higher, right, to be on top of you, yirat shamayim, right, awe. The kippah, the yarmulke, is yareh mulya. It's supposed to be a yirah, awe. But what it's become over the course of time is something that divides, something that distracts other people. It's become a label. People fixate on what color it is, and what shape it is, and what size it is, and whether it has a fringe on top, like a poofy thing on top or not. People, it's just horrible. Also, I'm not raising my kids religious. I'm raising them in the Hebrew faith. I'm not raising them religious, right? We keep Shabbos, we keep the festivals. I try to have them walk in ways of Torah and commandments, but I don't force anything on them. We don't go to synagogue, we don't go to shul, and I try to, right, kindness and humility. That's what I want them to be. I always tell them, I don't care if you're religious or not. I care if you're a good person. Same thing with their report card, which they recently got now that it's been half a year of the current school year. I said, great, I don't care about the report card. You did really well here. You could do better there. Cool. You do you. You'll have to deal with school. You'll have to deal with the teachers. Are you kind? Are you humble? Keep doing that. So no, they don't wear a kippah. Too much judgment. Too much division, too much pride, too much arrogance, too much holier than thou attitude. The Penguin King says that, "Hello, ayef kvar 12:30." Yeah, man, yeah. This chat enlivens me. Aren't you tired? It's 12, it's midnight. Nope, I'm not tired. I will go to bed soon. It's almost been 2 hours and I will go to bed soon. But I love doing this and it enlivens me. You can tell from my energy that this is an enlivening thing. It's a source of value, of entertainment for all of us, and of real good vibrations. Such positive vibrations I get from these live streams. From the trolls and the spammers and the haters too, by the way. Tell us how good Bibi is, Richard says. Why, Bibi is so good that I'm going to vote for the first time in 20 years just to get him out of office. That's how good he is. It's time for him to go. It's time for him to go. He did his thing. He's been in power a long time. It's time for him to go. That's it. Dan says, how come you say they use straws? Where the hell do you get these drugs back then? What do they use with their tongue, huh? No, I'm talking about now. I don't know about circumcision back in the day. Obviously, way back then, they did use their mouth. But now we have like a kind of, I saw it. I witnessed all of my kids' circumcisions. I was right there next to the mohel, right by his side, right, praying and looking at my kid and thinking many things. But you get his drugs back? I don't know what you're talking about, man. But I'm not saying they always use straws. I'm saying that nowadays, a lot of mohels don't put their mouth on the baby's penis. They use like a single-use surgical apparatus, suck out the blood, spit it out. That's what they do. Tikkun olam, says Arts, Crafts, Antiquity. Indeed, tikkun olam, remedying the world. Tikkun, by the way, is repairing or remedying. Tikkun is also adorning. A tikkun is also a way of saying adorning. So it's not simply to make up for the past and to bring things back to like an equilibrium, right? A universal homeostasis of some kind. No, it's elevation. A tikkun is not just repairing what was what was done. It's making it even higher. That is the true tikkun, for sure. Okay. William says, you gross monsters. I am a gross monster. I'll give you that. Okay. Yes, straws were used in ancient Egyptian times, if that was... okay, so James Bong knows what he's talking about, yeah. Your government doesn't want coexistence. Hey, I don't know what the government wants. I really don't, and it's partly why I haven't voted in about 20 years. Can I buy weed in Israel? Yes, you can, Mick Fitz. Very good weed indeed. Why do you wear a crown out of Child's Play blocks? Child's Play block, says Michael. Scared the lizard people come for you also? The lizard people? No, I have a pact with them. We have an alliance. They're not going to come for me. In my life, I'm meant to kill, says Matthew. Meant to kill? Really? That's an interesting way to go through life, but okay. Matthew says the kippah was designed as a symbol of humility and now functions like a resume on the scalp. Yes, precisely. I don't give them one. Oh, wait, there was a lag? A glitch? I'm back. It's more like an extension of the penis in modern... Yeah, it's a big pissing contest. Mamash kacha. Is there a difference between mitzvah and covenant? Yes, there is. A mitzvah is a commandment. There are 613 of them. However, there are certain mitzvahs, like the covenant of Shabbos, that are equated, let's say, against all of the others. In other words, a person who keeps the Shabbos well, who honors the Shabbos, right, and who elevates the Shabbos to the best of his or her ability, it's as if he is keeping the entire Torah, right? Because Shabbat represents the Edenic covenant. Shabbat is the covenant of Eden. Shabbat is called Me'ain Olam Haba, a taste of the coming world, because we are waiting for the Edenic Sabbath to come into being. So the Sabbath that we keep here is a covenant that harkens back to Eden. And so, because of different things, a mitzvah is a commandment, 613 mitzvot, taryag mitzvot. A covenant is called a brit. Brit is, let's say, Abraham, the covenant between the parts, right? When he had the goats and he had the birds, right? And the great and the eagle that came down when he received the vision or prophecy, right? That his progeny will be slaves in a land that is not theirs, in a foreign land, and they will come back afterwards, right? So that is a covenant, right? But a mitzvah, you can have a mitzvah that's a covenant, right? Like tefillin, or like the Nazarite ship, or like Shabbos, or like studying Torah. That's a covenant. Torah is a covenant. The covenant of Sinai, right? So yes, there is a difference between them. We are not commanded of 613 covenants. We are commanded to keep 613 commandments. That is the covenant of Torah v'mitzvot, right? Of Torah and commandments. That is the difference, basically. Let's go back to the live chat. Should I say goodbye? It's almost 2 hours. Okay. How about a talis? No, because I'm vegan, so I don't wear a talit. The only time where I wear a talit is if I'm going into a shul, which occasionally I do, and I put on a talis over my head and on my person, and I wrap it around me, because I don't want to wear a kippah. So I put the talit on over my head. But even that I shouldn't do, but I do, right? Out of respect for those who may think that I'm desecrating the shul or whatnot. Your religion is a lie, says Captain Fat Sacks. I love the name, Captain. A couple of captains already in the chat. I'm intrigued. Yes, my religion is indeed a lie. That's very, very true. Very true. Reaper says, how do you feel about Norse beliefs? I don't know enough about the Norse mythology. I don't know enough about the Norse, the deities and all of the worlds and everything. I know Valhalla, Odin, Thor, Frida, that whole thing. And not just from the Avengers, but not just from the Marvel Universe. But I don't know enough. So how do I feel about it? It's not the Hebrew way, but I feel good for you. They have a great creation story. The Norse creation myth is great. I love that story, and I love the way that they view the world with the different layers, or I don't remember precisely, but I remember really, really digging it. So yeah. Let's continue. Captain Fatsack says, brother, is sit with you with a flower from and honestly learn. I don't know what you mean, man, Captain Fatsacks. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, another super chat came in. Hang on a second. Hey, Binary Ghost is here again. Good to see you, man. Regardless of what people think of Jews, they were at least smart enough to codify a day off in their religion, and I at least think that was clever. Yes, this is something my mother told me ever since I was a little boy. Part of how she knows that the Torah is divinely inspired and that it has some sort of divine origin is because we human beings, I'm paraphrasing, right, are beasts of burden. We would work hard every single day of our life if we could, but God says no. 6 days of labor, 6 days of work, 6 days of toil, 1 day of rest, 1 day for Torah, 1 day for prayer, 1 day for spirituality, 1 day for family, like that it's dedicated to those things. Obviously, there's prayer, Torah, spirituality, family, and rest in all other days, but this is a day that is dedicated to those things. To have a good meal at the table, a meal that takes like an hour and a half, with songs, with sanctifying the day, with wine. Not me, right? I do it with bread. But yes, that's how she said it. And yeah, that's definitely a clever thing. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest, right? Just like with the land. 6 years of working the land, 1 day of letting the land rest. Or the slaves. 6 years of servitude, and then you are set free in the 7th year. Jebak says, genuine question, could you speak on blood libels and what the Jews think the Gentiles, the Goyim, is it all conspiracy or is there truth to it? No. The Torah repeats several times the prohibition against consuming blood. We are not allowed to drink blood. We are not allowed to consume blood. The blood is the life force. Hadam hu hanefesh. We are not allowed to consume blood. That goes against the Torah. We do not use Christian children's blood to make matzah. That would make it not kosher. But speak on blood libels. They are illogical. They are not kosher. They are irrelevant to the Jews, but very relevant to those who keep them and who think they are real. Why do people have Jews? I don't understand, says Morgan. What does it mean to have a Jew? I'm curious. Let's continue. What's your career? I'm a writer. Rich Piano. Hey, Rich Piano's true form. You were here, what, yesterday? 2 days ago? I don't remember. You were here recently. I'm a writer. That's what I do. Never Under Pressure says, all things that ever existed on Earth, all species of animals, plants, rocks, sand, and stone, are made of the same building blocks of life, stardust. Yes, we are. We are stardust, said Joni Mitchell. We are golden, and we have got to find our way. Wait, we are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. That's what I'm saying. We are stardust, we are golden, and we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. Right? The Garden of Eden. That's what I'm saying. That's what she was saying. Now look, people, Joni Mitchell sang that. Crosby, Stills, and Nash sang that. Other people, of course, covered it, but those... Oh man, wow, what a cover. Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Oh, what a cover. Thank you for being clear, brother. I support you. I wish to learn and heal my brother. I do too. I'm not a teacher. Don't learn from me. Go to actual teachers. God praise you. God praise me? That's high praise. I'm not worthy of it, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a sage. I'm not a rabbi. I'm not an educated man. I'm not a learned man. I'm not an academic. I'm not a researcher. I'm just a simple dumbass in the Middle East with a phone. That's all I am. On that note, it has been 2 hours. I will say goodbye. Thank you ever so much. God willing, I will see you tomorrow for another live stream at some point in the day or the night. If I missed your hate speech, insult, vitriol, encouragement, love, and embrace in the chat, please leave a comment. I address every single comment that is addressed to me. If you want to hit me up in the DMs, Hebrew Nazarite across the board. Look for my tree on X, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Facebook. So let's do this. Let's make it happen. Tomorrow, God willing. Until then, be blessed, be a blessing to others and to yourselves, right? And be a light to those around you. Have a blessed new moon. Tomorrow night is the full moon. Tomorrow night is the new moon. But today is also Rosh Chodesh, the last day of Shvat. Tomorrow night, the first night of Adar. And may it be a bountiful and blessed Ramadan to those who are keeping it and are observing it. Go with God, people. I'll see you tomorrow. L'chaim.